And welcome on into another episode of Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. I'm Terry, Nick beside me, Brian bottom left, Dave bottom right. We are ready to break down some baseball. We will quickly go over the CFL game at the end. It'll be mostly just Nick talking because I don't really have any opinions in this game, but we'll still go over it. I'll give a slate or my lean, but we'll go over that at the end. I picked some good games for us to go over today, and we'll jump right into the first one. So the Cincinnati Reds are in New York facing the Yankees. I asked in our group chat yesterday, Andy, who's been on the show before, said that the Yankees will have a losing streak sometime in the year where they'll lose 5 or more. And I was thinking, have they finally hit their losing streak last game? But they were able to come back against a team that they should be able to come back against. So they did cash, but they were huge favorites. Once again, today, only minus 185 for the Yankees. I'll bring up the odds here. 185 for the Yankees. You can also find anywhere from minus 190 up to minus 196 here. If you want Cincinnati, you can find them anywhere from plus 150 to plus 165. The total mostly 8s, a couple 7.5s available. I will bring up my bet in this game, and that is Nestor Cortez over 5.5 strikeouts. I want to give a big shout out to Dave for yesterday. Those strikeout props on Javier in the Houston game. I was thinking that the Dodgers were going to lose, so I needed a couple extra plays there at the end. Through the strikeout, I bet the 6.5 and then took the 7.5 as well, and they both cashed. So that was just awesome. Here, you can get Nestor Cortez for 5.5, depending on where you go. I got it at plus 100. You can get it at BetMGM right now. Other places minus 110, minus 130. So kind of a big price difference here. But I like Cortez to get 6+ strikeouts. He has been striking guys out, and Cincinnati is the 5th worst team when it comes to strikeouts, averaging 8.84 this year and 10.67 in the last 3 games. So they've been striking out as of late, and they strike out in the season against Cortez. 5.5 strikeouts plus 100. I love it. Give it to me. Nick, Reds and Yankees. What do you think here?
Yeah, I'm going to learn from the mistake I made last night and only take the first 5, not the full game, because the Reds' first 5 would have hit, but the Reds' full game unfortunately did not. That was a heartbreaking way to lose a plus 255 underdog that I thought I had a legit chance at cashing last night that could have really turned around my night. But it is what it is. We're back at it today, and I have another minus 300 on the slate, which I'll get to later. But this one here, I took the Reds in the first 5. I do think they have a pitching advantage here. We've seen Nestor Cortez really regress recently after his really good start to the year. He's become back to normal, really, for him. And this is a Luis Castillo is potentially, I would say, second to last start. We may see him pitch one more time with Cincinnati after the trade deadline. He is Cincinnati's all-star. And I think this could be one of those, maybe it's an audition for one of his future teams. If the Yankees are looking to go get a pitcher, this could be an audition for Luis Castillo. So I expect him to go out there and give me at least 5 solid innings. I like the Reds in the first 5 at an underdog price at plus 140.
All right. Bryant, what do you think here? Reds and the Yankees.
Yeah. I think part of the reason this line is still the way it is just because of the Reds name. I would probably say that it probably needs to be closer to maybe like minus 160 than maybe minus 190. I think Castillo's a very good pitcher. As long as he keeps those walks down, he can be as good as anyone he wants to be, especially with that changeup, which arguably might be one of the best pitches in baseball. With that being said, I like the Yanks to win the game tonight. There's no real value there. So for me, I decided to take it a step further, and I've got the here we go. I've got the Yanks Reds F5 under 4. I think Cortez should be able to have a solid start against a soft hitting lineup that doesn't hit lefties well. Shout out to Margie for that live bet. You know, we've been cashing that all year long. Wait for the Yankees to get down and they'll come storming back. So, but yeah, I like Castillo to put on a good performance in front of a potential future team that he might be a part of. And I like Cortez though to be able to settle down and keep this Reds lineup in check. They don't really hit the ball against lefties well. I think they're 8-17 total this year in terms of record wise against left-handed starters. So there's really, like I said, there's a lot of stuff pointing to it, and obviously they have been better of late against lefties, but ultimately I can't see Cortez having another blow-up start. He pitched pretty well. He had a rough little second time through that in Boston, but ultimately I think that he can do what he's supposed to, and I think Castillo will do the same, and it'll cash his F5 under for us, and I got that at minus 115. So good value there for two pretty solid pitchers. I am going to put the Yankees money line in a parlay just because it's the Yanks, and I do think they'll win the game. That Reds bullpen is suspect, and it was the reason why they lost last night. And basically, really, yeah, they should have won. The Yankees should have won the first game. Obviously, they blew that one wholeheartedly. But yeah, the Reds bullpen is not great, and yeah. So those are my plays for the game. Keep it simple. I'm kind of bullish on the run line tonight, just because of Castillo being on the mound. He's liable to go 7-8 innings and keep them in the game, and it might be 2-1, 3-1, or something like that. So those are I'm just going to play it the way I am and leave it at that. So.
All right. So I like Cortez strikeouts. Nick likes Cincinnati first 5. Bryant likes first 5 under and Yankees full game.
We can all win, really.
Yeah. Dave, where do you fit on the spectrum here in this game?
I'm going to put in a bet that we can all win. I thought yesterday was a really good spot for the Reds if they were going to have a crack at beating the Yankees. But that just kind of shows you, I know that a lot of people it's like any team that's in the limelight, like the Lakers, or the Patriots or whoever. But the Yankees and Dodgers, both the past 2 nights, and the Dodgers the night before that, went down to very big deficits and roared back. These are teams that are built that way. That's why they spend the money they do. And that's why they're the best teams in baseball, like them or not. But I thought it was a good spot. It's not a horrible spot for the Reds. And also, buyer beware the next week or the next few days. Games are going to be weird. People's thoughts are at different places. People that aren't going to the All-Star game are thinking about going golfing on the beach and their kids. That's why my best bet, which is already gone, the Pirates and the Marlins, it looks like they didn't even want to play. And that went into my bet for the under. But in this game, the bet that just jumped right off that makes no sense, especially for a team that's kind of surging a little bit, is the Reds team total. I found it at 3. And I bet it last night at the over at minus 120. It's still minus 130. I might throw it in a parlay, but I think they can get 3 runs off of this team. Yeah. I think the Yankees definitely – who's going to win? I don't know. If you had a gun to my head, I'd choose the Yankees. But 3 runs seems ridiculous. This game could easily be 5-3, 4-3. This game could be 8-5 with how things are going. So that just seemed like too good a value. There were some 3.5s out there. Didn't like it as much, but 3 seems like a gimme. So
yeah, yeah. I would probably say that's a good bet, just considering how Cortez has looked over the last.
And he's been touched up. The teams he's gotten touched up against are the teams that are streaking. Like the Red Sox, he gave up 4 runs. A few games back, the Astros, he gave up 3 runs. And these are much better offensive teams, but they're teams that are streaking, just like the Reds are. So,
yep.
Interesting. Well, let's hope that we all are able to cash. That would be excellent. All kind of on different things. So we'll see what happens. The second game here that I chose, the red hot Mariners team are in Texas facing the Rangers. I took Seattle in game 1. I put Seattle in a 4-game parlay for game 2, which cashed a personal parlay. So I didn't take a Seattle singly in game 2, but had them in a 4-gamer, and that cashed. So that was awesome. This Mariners team is playing really well right now. You can find them anywhere from plus 100 to plus 108, which is kind of surprising here. Texas, you can find them anywhere from minus 130 to minus 123. Yes, I get it. The pitcher on the mound for Texas, it is Martin Perez, 7-2 in the year with a 2.72 ERA. 6 earned runs and 7 hits in his last game against Minnesota, a no decision. And then 2 wins against the Mets in Kansas City, where he gave up 7 hits in both games, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 earned runs, 2 walks in the Mets in Kansas City. Now he has to face this hot Seattle team. And Gonzalez on the side for Seattle, 5-9 in the year with a 3.24 ERA. But I think we can all agree that he's probably pitched better than any of us expected him to this year. In his last 3 games, win against Toronto, a loss against Oakland and the Angels, but he only gave up 2 earned runs in each game. He's been pitching pretty well, and Martin Perez has got touched up lately. I get it. It's Perez. I get what he's done this year, and he probably does have, if you look at the season full stats, he does have a pitching advantage against Gonzalez. But this Seattle team is hot, and I'm going to back them at a plus 108 price, mostly because I've been on them for however many games it's been. And you don't want to jump on a streak at the end of it, but you don't want to jump off it when it's cashing either. So I'm going right back to Seattle, plus 108, which, surprise, surprise, will be my dog of the day. I like Seattle a lot in this one. Nick, Mariners and Rangers. I know you backed Perez a lot this year. Are you backing him today?
No, I stayed completely off this game. I was looking towards the over in this spot potentially. I can see this being a little bit of a sneaky over. I can see Perez giving up a couple runs, and I'm still not a huge fan of Marco Gonzalez. He's been decent, but his advanced numbers are not very good. So I do expect him to regress to being a pitcher with a high 4 ERA, something along those lines. For me, if I'm looking at a side, I don't like the fact that, once again, the Mariners have switched locations. And usually winning streaks, I look to fade teams on winning streaks when they change cities, especially if it's like a 7+ win game winning streak. So for me, it would be Texas or nothing in this game. And I was leaning towards the over. I didn't get to either, though.
All right. Bryant, Mariners and Rangers. What do you think here?
Yeah, I am definitely on this game. I've been riding the Mariners this entire streak. I know you and I have been talking about it for a while now. This one is a little bit challenging because I want to back the Mariners here, but I don't trust Marco Gonzalez on the road. He's what I think, like I saw 2-5 with a 3.29 ERA and 8 road starts this year. And Perez is a lot better at home, where his ERA drops below 2 or below 3. He's 4-2. One, yes, Perez is definitely having some regression a little bit, but I think the difference is to kind of combine what Nick said as well. They're traveling again, and I think ultimately that is going to bite them in the butt. And I think it happens here solely because the Rangers have been chilling at home for a while now. They've been at home for basically like a week and a half. They play the Twins at home. They had the Athletics at home. And now they bring in the Mariners as well, part of this homestand. I think and they've been playing pretty well, all things considered. They've been hitting the ball pretty well as well. And so I think that all kind of just makes this a spot that I don't want to back the Mariners on. And so ultimately, I just decided to take the Mariners, or not the Mariners, but the Rangers F5 run line at minus 110. It was not minus 110. It was at plus 110. Excuse me. So I get a little plus money here. I'm going to back the home team. Like again, like I said, I know Perez got kind of touched up against the Twins recently. But ultimately, I think that's just a spot where they get off to a little bit of a stronger start against the road weary Mariners, and I think that catches. I think that the Mariners can still win this game because I trust their bullpen a little bit more. But I think that the Rangers jump out early, and that's going to be my official play. It's just the F5 run line for the Rangers here.
Rangers actually have a sneaky bullpen, by the way, too.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Not bad.
But
I think the Rangers could be a team we could look to bet on for the second half of the year.
Yeah, and I think you also take in consideration that they'll probably add someone. It's a team like the Rangers who've, they're floating enough to where it makes sense for them to try to go in and win some games. But like I said, there's too much good mojo going around the Mariners to bet them to lose tonight. I don't want to personally, so I'm just going to take them on F5, and I can see them coming back late. So.
All right. Well, hopefully that happens. We both cash. Dave, Mariners and Rangers. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts actually, and the most confusing game to me, also the juiciest game in a lot of different ways. In the few days I've been on the show, we've talked about the Rangers and how many runs they've been scoring at home, and I've kind of been on the right side and the wrong side, and the right side but the wrong bet. The Mariners too. I haven't been on the whole streak. I've kind of picked my spots. But, man, they just kind of crept up as this is probably the strongest streak right now going in the major leagues. But a couple things you guys talked about for the Mariners. The Mariners have the best past 2 weeks. They're hitting left-handed pitching the best of any team in the major leagues. Their OPS is 1123. Their WRC plus is over 200. Their average is 406. I mean, they are crushing left-handed hitting. Hold on one second. I got to switch screens. And then their bullpens. We're talking about the Rangers have a sneaky bullpen. Over the last 2 weeks, Seattle has the second best bullpen in the major leagues. That's why they're putting together these wins. Now, I am leaning Mariners, and now I'm trying to decide whether my dog of the day is playing right now. So I need to find one, and I think this might be it. But the better bet to me is the Mariners team total 4 over at -112. There's been a lot of runs. I mean, the Rangers are letting the A score runs. If they're letting the A score runs, they can let this Mariners team score runs. And I think 4 is low. It should be at 4.5 or 5. The over might be a play 2. But, the Mariners are just crushing left-handed hitting. They might get 4 in the first 4 or 5 innings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Oakland. I took the over in the one game there, 8.5. And I'm like, I don't really trust this Oakland. But the pitchers, and I thought, hopefully it'll get there. And, yeah, it did. So definitely I could see runs in this game for sure. We'll jump into the third game. Houston is in LAA facing the Angels. I'm kind of going back to where I ended up on yesterday, thanks to Dave, and that's the strikeout props here. The Angels, even though not Garcia, I'm blanking on his name.
Christian Javier.
Yeah, even though Javier had a bad game, kind of, he got lit up kind of in early, he still hit his strikeouts.
Yeah.
He still hit his strikeouts, and it was like the fourth inning, and he still got his strikeouts. He was up to like 70-something pitches, and I'm like, uh-oh. Is he going to come back? Is he going to get it? And then he ended up going over the strikeouts I needed. Valdez has been hitting strikeouts as well. In his last game, the game previously, he played the Angels just on the 3rd, so 11 days ago. No decision, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 walks, so he gave up quite a bit of walks. But he had 13 strikeouts in those 6 innings. And as Dave said yesterday, the Angels are the worst team. 9.78 strikeouts per game, 13 strikeouts per game in their last 3 games, 17 strikeouts yesterday. I think we kind of get a repeat of yesterday. Who wins? I am not even going to try to look at the side. I just took Valdez over 6.5 strikeouts, which I got a +114, and Valdez over 7.5 strikeouts, which I got a +220. I didn't go any further, but if you're wanting to ladder it up further. I wouldn't talk anybody off it, but I just need 8 strikeouts and I cash 2 bets, and whoever wins. Nick, what do you think here? Astros and Angels.
Yeah, we have a best bet on the side for this game. I'll look at the total a little bit here. Both these pitchers have actually been pretty good. Looking at my spreadsheet, I see a lot of green for both these pitchers, so it'd be a lean to a little bit towards an under in this game. I was expecting an under last night with Ohtani, which Ohtani pitched fine, and of course 4 runs were scored 90 under 3.5. So my initial lean yesterday was to back Ohtani in general, but no Trout scared me away from that, and went with the under. I would lean under again today, but no play on the total, just the best bet on the side.
All right, and if you want to find Nick's best bet, earlsportsbets.com. You can find you can purchase it there for that game. Bryant, Astros and Angels. What do you think here?
Yeah, I like the Astros to win this game. And furthermore, to take it even a step further, I like them to cover on the run line. It's minus 110. The Astros have always, or I guess not always, but since they have reconfigured their entire organization and become a perennial contender, they have always been pretty solid at hitting lefties. Detmer's had that no-hitter earlier this year, but he's a soft-tossing lefty. He's not in the echelon of the Shane McClanahan's and Max Fried's and stuff like that. So ultimately, for me, the game kind of comes down to there. I think Valdez is due for a bounce back start. I think you can get away with some strikeout props here, as you guys mentioned, because the Angels do strike out a whole bunch. But ultimately, I think that the Astros come out here and cruise. I just see there's a stark difference in the pitching matchup, a very stark difference, obviously in the bullpen and the lineups. That 1 through 4, 1 through 5 is cool, but then after 5 through 9 or 6 through 9, I should say, I think that's where the advantage lies for the Astros. Although it might not be that significant, I think that they'll do enough and set the table for the top of the lineup. And I think the Astros cruise. So, like I said, I'm going to take the Astros run line. And that's my only play in this game.
All right. Dave, Astros and Angels.
Yeah.
Back to the strikeout props, or what do you think?
So I am. So spoiler alert, you took the words out of my mouth and I have to say something else. So this is what I'm going to say. I have the 7 Ks at 104. At least 7 Ks are over at 104. Framber Valdez actually isn't he doesn't even average a strikeout an inning, but he had 13 last time versus the Angels. And talking about not getting off the train, I'm going to bet it I'm going to bet the Angels strikeout prop every game until it busts. And the sad part about the Angels, just a side note, we talk about Reed Detmer, is a guy that threw a no hitter, then was assigned to the minors weeks later for 6 games. He's a rookie. He's a very soft left-handed pitcher, like a Jamie Moyer type. This isn't a team to go against. This is a team that can smash you. So I'd bet the Astros if the juice wasn't so bad, probably. But my poor Angels, man, they just have nothing to play for. They had such a good start to the season, and they have so many promising players. I mean, they have 2 of the best players in the whole league, but they have nothing to play for. There's no way they're going to get to the playoffs with the teams, especially in the East. So I don't know how I'm going to go forward betting the Angels or Angels games, period, because if I was an Angels player, and I wasn't Mike Trout or Ohtani, and I wasn't on a contract year, I could give 2 squirts of duck shit about this year. It's over.
Yeah, for sure.
But my bet is Terry's bet, strikeout prop 7 Ks. That's what I got hit.
I like it. We'll go on to the next game, which actually could possibly be my favorite game of the night here. As we go on, the final game of the night, Milwaukee is in San Francisco. You can find the Brewers anywhere from minus 104 to minus 118. You can find San Francisco anywhere from minus 104 to minus 115. A lot of places minus 110 or minus 108 or whatever each side. Total is 6.5. Most books you can find a 6, a bet 99 in this game. I am taking Rodon over 8.5 strikeouts, which is plus 132. And I'm also taking San Francisco money line at minus 105. The Brewers against a lefty. Yes, I get it. It's Corbin Burns on the mound. I think this is going to be an incredible pitching duel. But the fact that we get Brewers against Rodon, a lefty, is kind of the deal breaker for me. I could have went first 5, but I could see this being tied at the first 5. But I do think the Giants win this game, and a good pitching performance from Rodon. 8.5 strikeouts is a high number, but Rodon hits strikeouts a lot. And Milwaukee is the 8th worst team in the league. 7th worst team in the league when it comes to strikeouts. So they strike out a lot. Nick, Brewers and Giants, final game of the night. What do you think here?
Yeah, this under seems painfully obvious. But when I looked at this game last night, it was a 6. And as painfully obvious as this game would be towards the under, I'm on the over 6. I think this game can go over on accident. And I think this is one of those games where people are going to see Rondon, they're going to see Burns, and they're going to think 0-0. I think 3-3 is a potential score in this game. And we can see this game go on over on accident here. So at 6, this is the lowest total we've seen all year long. That being said, this game's probably going to end 2-1. But I'm going to take over 6 in this one here, hoping each team puts up 3 runs. I don't think that's asking too much. Is hoping that teams put up 3 runs each. So over 6. As ugly as that sounds, as I just feel like when I looked at the card last night and I was on a call with my brother, I was like, there's one play that is so painfully obvious for tomorrow, and I want to go against it. And this was that play because both these pitchers are like green all across my my model and all of that stuff. And it just seems too painfully obvious. So I went over in this game at 6.
Hey, even if it starts out low, the bullpens could come in, and that's what you might be relying on for your overs, the bullpens. But we'll see what happens. Dana, your question, Nick just answered it. For me, I don't have a total pick in this game, but I really like San Francisco as a side, but I can't give a total because I could see, like Nick said, I could see this being 2-1, or I could see it accidentally squeaking over maybe 4-3 or something. So I don't really want to get to a total. Bryant, any opinion on the total, and what do you think about the game?
I said this earlier on this year. I think we were talking about it was a start between the Mets and the Cardinals. I can't remember who was pitching for the Cardinals, but I know Scherzer was pitching for the Mets, and we talked about
Palante.
It might have been.
It may have been Palante or Michaelis.
I think it was Michaelis. It was early on this season, very early on. It was Michaelis. But to that point, I will never bet totals this low. I just can't, man. Because there is value in betting under here, but also, again, and we said this with like totals or sides over like minus 300 in baseball, that's just ridiculous. Like stuff like this is just utterly ridiculous. It's operating on the complete end of the like spectrum, and I don't like living my life like that. So I'm definitely not going to put my money and bet on something where you're like at polar opposites and like the extremes are so ridiculous. So
the under has no room for error.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get 2 solo shots, you are already shaking like early on. So you don't have any room for that. And we know, obviously, generally speaking, bullpens are a more volatile thing to look at. So if you go 2-2 in the 7th inning, both of these guys go out. What? Then what? Like you just don't know. And if this goes to extras, you have the possibility that the game gets blown wide open because of the ghost runner.
Oh, so, I think if it goes to extra innings, the over's a lock. Or not a lock, but the over's like easy at that point.
Yeah, 100%. Which is why I can't touch it. So I personally am not. If I was going to give you a suggestion, it would just be to go to over. I think over 6 runs as the total when you have major league hitters. I don't care who the pitchers are. I just think that's ridiculous, especially when they're in California, if I'm not mistaken. So, you have a nice little breeze. This isn't like it's New York in the middle of October. So yeah, that's my personal suggestion.
All right. Cubano says, "Are we still doing hockey talk?" No, you did miss the hockey show. It is should be on the channel, but if not, I'll get it up when I edit it. When I edit this video. Sup, Tim, and Dana says thanks. Dave, any opinion on the total or side, or what do you think about this game?
These types of games are the most boring games in all of sports. And when I look at them, the only way this game would ever be interesting would be a playoff game. Here's why. You have two fantastic pitchers. You have lines that are set almost equally. And then you have a painfully obvious total bet. And I could dive in and search for props, but I don't even want to watch this game. It's going to 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. That's what you think it's going to be. And then you bet on the Giants. The one game you bet on the Giants under, they score 10 runs. Also, the Brewers are my least favorite team to bet this year. So everything about this game I hate. I have no play. If, again, gun to my head, Dave's gun to my head bet is choosing the under. But I don't even like that because, like I said, the Giants are a team that for 10 games in a row, they'll hit the under. The one time you bet them, they'll score 12 runs. At least that's my luck. So I'm off this game.
My personal play here is
I skipped you, Brian. I'm sorry when I did the question.
You're good. I just want to get it in. It has to be with under, ironically enough. I'm taking Corbin Burns here to hold the Giants down. I'm expecting him to actually keep them completely scoreless for the first 5 innings. I think that's the only real value in this game. I think Milwaukee wins. Ultimately, I do. Nothing against Rodon because I love betting Rodon. And I could find myself maybe late picking a strikeout prop, but I'm getting the Giants F5 team total at or under half a run at plus 170. And the reason why that is kind of juicy to me is considering the fact that the Giants played in Milwaukee early on this year, and Corbin Burns went a ho-hum. He 11 Ks, 6 2/3 innings, gave up just 2 hits and 2 walks, no runs. And so because of that, the Giants haven't just magically turned into the murderers row Yankees. So I don't see any real reason to believe that. And then I know Dave just mentioned those unders. It's clear that they're just not a great offensive team. I think obviously that 12-run outburst against Dallas Keuchel, shout out to that play. That was an outlier because it was Dallas Keuchel. But I can't see them deciding that they're going to just light up Corbin Burns now. So that is my play. Like I said, it's plus 170. It's insane value. I would just single bet it. I've been very, very profitable with these F5 team total unders. It's honestly becoming my favorite bet of the MLB season right now, especially when you have these superstar pitchers going up against really bad teams or going up against teams that are very soft hitting. There's a ton of value there. I should probably I'm going to start tracking it a little bit more. But Corbin Burns just hit this bet the last 2 times I've bet it. Once against the Cubs, and then prior to that against the Pirates. And like I said, if you go under, 0.5 runs, so basically under, they just hold them scoreless for 5 innings. You're getting plus 160, plus 170, depending on the team. It might go up to like plus 190. It's better than taking the money line or the run line for that matter in some of these cases. So I'm going to keep riding it, and that's going to be my official play for this game.
And I got one more thing to say about it's a little insider tidbit about Oracle Park. You were talking about the wind. The wind report, the weather report almost always shows a double digit. Yeah, it always shows a double-digit wind blowing out to center field. But make no mistake, this is a pitcher's park because when you look at the flags over McCovey Cove, they're blowing in. The wind swirls. Do not pay attention to the wind when you're betting. Do not look at the weather when you're betting totals at Oracle Park. That's a little tip.
Yeah, I noticed that too because I look at the weather every morning with that.
It's one of the most irrelevant parks with the weather just because of wind swirls.
Hey, the one interesting thing about baseball is all these different parks are kind of different. They're all kind of different. Hockey things are kind of more the same. like everything's kind of more the same. But with baseball, you have places like in Boston, and then you have places like Colorado. Like there's lots of different parks, and they're all kind of different in their own way. So good advice. BetStamp, use code WILD when signing up at BetStamp. I'll bring up the odds here as I quickly run through them for last pitch. Use code WILD when signing up and find the best lines. And you can find my picks there as well. Late edition, sometimes I add things late, so you can get those as well. Follow me there at Let's Go Wild Picks. But going here to last pitch in our first game, Atlanta, Washington. I do like Atlanta to win this game. Minus 230, so it would obviously have to be a parlay piece. Anibal Sanchez is making his season debut. And on the other side, Kyle Wright for the Braves. The Braves coming off a disappointing series against the Mets. And I think they're going to come out here against the Nationals and kind of take it to them here in a kind of a pissed off way. So I do like Atlanta to win. If you had to take the run line, you'd have to go minus 2.5 at plus money, plus 105. No real value with the minus 1.5. But I like their money line definitely in a parlay. KC Toronto, Gosman making his return on the mound for the Blue Jays. Zerpa for the Royals. The Royals are a lot of players. Yeah, who? The Oils.
Great.
The Royals are out a lot of players, a lot of impact players in this one. Toronto, I think they're going to get back on track here. I think the Montoya firing in the end was the right decision. And I think the Jays are going to go on a bit of a run against a team now in this next 4 games that they should sweep this team. They should have swept this team before, but especially with all the players out, there's definitely no excuses. Toronto money line minus 373. So obviously that is an insane price. And what I decided to do is take Toronto minus 2.5 at minus 120 and Toronto team total over 5.5 at minus 105. I expect Toronto to win this by more than 3 runs. I expect them to score more than 6 runs. And I expect a big game from them here against the Royals. A big 4 games coming up. Detroit, Cleveland was a pass for me. I don't like betting McKenzie games whatsoever. Crawford, Rasmussen for Boston, Tampa. I kind of wanted to go with Tampa, but ended up staying off. Dodgers and Cardinals. I'm going to have Dodgers in a money line parlay, most likely going back to with Atlanta. I'll have to see after the show. I do not have my parlays done. So follow me out. Let's Go Wild Picks on BetStamp to get those parlays after the show. But it's Dakota Hudson for the Cardinals, Tyler Anderson for the Dodgers. Cardinals are the best team against lefties, so I do think they probably will hit Anderson. But the Dodgers will have their fun with Hudson, who is coming off a good last start, but has shown this year that he can get hit. And this is the Dodgers we're talking about. I would not recommend taking the Dodgers first 5, though, because they seem to go down and not really care. I shouldn't say they don't really care, but they're a furious rally team right now. So definitely not a first 5 team I'd want to take. White Sox Twins, no official bets yet. I want to back Sonny Gray coming off a bad start. The Twins, in my opinion, the better team this year. Obviously, the White Sox have had injuries, but accounting for everything, the Twins are the better team, in my opinion. And I do like Sonny Gray. Haven't got to it. Mets and Cubs, Carrasco against Thompson. Carlos Carrasco, not good on the road. Keegan Thompson, very good at home. But this is a Mets against the Cubs, 2 completely different teams. I wanted to take Thompson plus 0.5 in the first 5, but the best odds I could find for that at the time were minus 124, minus 127, and I don't really want to take minus 127 to kind of fade the Mets. I was looking more for minus 110 for the plus 0.5 in the first 5. So ultimately, that game is a pass, and that is it for the slate for baseball for me. Nick, last pitch. Anything else in the world of baseball that you want to give out?
Yeah. For that Atlanta-Washington game, I'm on the over 9.5. I lean towards Washington. I kind of feel the same way about Atlanta as I feel about New York tonight, that I feel like they can come out flat after that big series. So it'd be a lean towards Washington. No play on Washington, though. I don't really trust Anibal Sanchez making his first start. So it's just the over there for me. Toronto and Kansas City. I am nothing but a man of my word. There's a minus 300 on the slate. You know where I'm going here. Give me the Royals first 5 in full game, plus 245 for the first 5, plus 270 for the full game. I'm nothing but a man of my word. I will promise that at the end of the season, when I bet against every single minus 300 favorite, doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if it's the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Mets, the Dodgers. If you're a minus 300 favorite, I'm going to be betting against you that night. So I will probably have a 15-35 record when it comes to this, but be up 3.5 units. So
quickly to interrupt, you're doubling up in this game. So not only are you taking the Royals,
I learned my lesson last night. I learned my lesson last night. I'm doing first 5 in full games. Yes. So first 5 full game Royals. I'm not expecting to win these, but I'm nothing but a man of my word. So Royals first 5 full game money lines there. Detroit and Cleveland, I'm on the over 8.5. I think that we see Hernandez, I believe it's Hernandez, get hit tonight for no, it's Rodriguez, my bad. Rodriguez for Detroit get hit a little bit tonight. Cardinals and Dodgers. I'm on the Cardinals first 5. I noticed the market moving towards the Cardinals in this spot here. This feels like one of those where the Cardinals do hit lefties pretty well, and I see a little bit of value here with the home team plus money, so I took the Cardinals there. I took the White Sox full game. I don't think they should be plus 140 versus the my bad. I don't think Minnesota should be minus 160 against Minnesota in this game. I just think they're priced a little bit too much there. I took the value spot there with the White Sox. From one Chicago to the next, I did take the Cubs first 5 at plus 105. I don't trust Carrasco on the road. This Mets team just came off of a big series against the Braves. I can see the Cubs winning the first 5 and then the Mets coming back and winning the full game. So I took the Cubs only in the first 5 innings for that. And then that is all of my baseball action for today.
All right, Bryant.
Yeah. I first want to start this by saying that you cannot catch me to bet anything in that Jays Royals game.
There.
If anything, I would have hopped on a team total. I don't even like that right now. I'm staying away. I want to watch chaos though, so I really want to watch the Jays just absolutely nuke the Royals, just to see how it looks when we basically have effectively a AAA team playing against a fully loaded major league roster. So that's where I'm at with that in that particular game. But the Braves, we got the Bravos going to the nation's capital. I have the Braves F5 run line at -0.5. I was able to get it last night at -125. Don't know why, especially with Anibal Sanchez on the mound. He hasn't pitched in like 2 years. I was like, okay, I'll take that. And so I went ahead and smashed that. I also have the Braves team total over 6. The Braves have done work in Washington this year. And I look for that to continue against, again, a guy that is coming off an injury. He's not pitched in multiple years. So I've got the Braves team total over 6 as well. What else do we have here? I am on the Guardians. Team total over 4.5. Largely because Elvin Rodriguez has gotten shelled. He's a reliever. It's like a bullpen game for them. And while the Tigers bullpen has actually been pretty solid, all things considered, he is not the guy that's been solid. He's not one of those guys. You got guys like Soto, Michael Fulmer in the back end of that bullpen that are probably legitimate trade picks or trade candidates. I don't think they will get rid of them because they have, relatively good team control on their contracts. But Elvin Rodriguez is not one of those guys. I can see the Guardians. They need to come in here blazing hot because they got embarrassed by this same Tigers team in Detroit last week. So now they get them at home, and I think this is a good spot for them to bounce back and hopefully get some momentum going in the right direction as they head into the All-Star break. So that's where I'm going with there. And I also have the Guardians on the run line. I think McKenzie's due as well for a good start. He pitched 8 innings, up 2 runs to the same Tigers team. He ironically enough ended up losing that game earlier this year, but it wasn't because of him. It was just his team didn't get enough runs. You pitch 8 innings and give up 2 runs, I think you expect to win that every day of the week. So ultimately, that's kind of where I decided on there. For me, in this Dodgers-Cardinals game, I am going to live bet it. I've seen the Dodgers go down twice in back-to-back nights, and they stormed back. I'm going to roll the dice and see if they go down again. So maybe Nick cashes his F5. And then the Dodgers come back in the top 7th and puts up a 5 spot and takes control of the game and ends up winning. But that's kind of where I'm at with the Dodgers right now. Like you guys said, they're in this weird spot where they just go down and then they'll fight their way back. And I don't really want to go on the F5 run line play or something like that, and only for them to lose, miss that by, them losing 4-1, and then they come back in the 6th and in the 8th inning or something, end up winning 7-5. So I'm going to stay away from that in that regard. And like I said, I'll live bet it. And if there's no reason for me to live bet it because they're up the whole game, then it is what it is. There's other spots that I'll back the Dodgers. They've been profitable for me, so I'll go back to the well later on. I also have the Jays, or not the Jays, but the Rays, Red Sox over 7.5. Cutter Crawford walks a crap ton of guys. His walk rate is very high, and he's a very big fly ball pitcher, which is not good when you're talking about an over. So I can't really see any real value on either side here. And so I'm just going to take the over 7.5. I think Boston's lineup is Boston's lineup. They're good for runs. And I think that the Rays can get to Cutter Crawford as well. So ultimately, I think over 7.5, and I get it at -105. I'll take that. I'll take that considering the teams. If I had to lean aside there, I think that the Rays win that game simply because I think that they're going to jump on Crawford and have the jump on the Red Sox as a result. And then this Twins game, I ultimately decided to just go with the Twins team total over 4.5. -105 is what I got it at, and I'm going to ride it out. I think I would pick Sonny Gray, gun to my head, and the Twins to win this game, but I've been burnt by the Twins way too much, and this sneaky feels like a Twins sell the game in the 7th inning type of spot, and so I'm not taking that chance. They can sell the game for all I care. I just need 5 runs. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. And I have nothing in that the Mets Cubs. It just doesn't appeal to me. So that's pretty much it for me today.
All right. Dave, last pitch. Anything else?
No, well, my best bet and my underdog's going. Best bet already cashed earlier in the day, so I don't have a ton more. I'm trying to find a way to bet this Jays game. I'm the same way when I see +300, but it seems like it's throwing money away. I'm looking. I know I want to bet it, but it just seems like it's throwing money away. I also looking at the team total, and this should be blast off time, but I'm just not convinced. The Jays are a big question mark for me. I'm kind of waiting to see what happens after the All-Star break when these guys settle into their new coaching situation. And then I'm looking at the alternate run line, like giving the Jays like 2 runs, 2.5 runs. None of the odds make sense. Even taking the Jays at +1.5 at +160, that doesn't seem good enough to me. I want more than that.
Royals.
Yeah, you mean the Royals, yeah.
So I don't have any other bets besides what we went over. But I do have a question though, which we'll get into. The best bet, can that be a prop bet?
Yeah, best bet can be absolutely anything as long as it's better than -150 odds, which you don't play -150 or -180 or whatever anyway. So yeah, you're totally good.
That's all I got.
All right. We'll briefly hit this game really quickly before we get to best bets here. I I have absolutely nothing in this game, the CFL game tonight. I know Nick does, so I'll let him have the floor here. But quickly, plus 9.5 for Edmonton, but Edmonton is awful. But Montreal should not be -9 favorites either. So this is just the battle of the bums. I lean Montreal. I think Montreal wins this game. But as you can see, you can get them anywhere from -350 to -455. So absolutely no value in this. I will have other picks in CFL this week, but not today. Nick, quickly, what do you think here in the CFL game?
Yeah, this is a banged up defense for Edmonton tonight. I believe they have injuries on their secondary that's already been beat up to begin with. And Montreal, these are two teams that have gone over. Combined, they're 7-2 to the over this year, 4-1 for Edmonton, 3-1 for Montreal. So I did take the over 49, and I do expect Montreal to take advantage of this Edmonton beat up defense. Like I can easily see this being similar to the last game Edmonton played, where they lost to Calgary 49-6, something along those lines. Especially with the question of who's going to be playing quarterback for Edmonton. So I took the team total over as well for the Montreal it's Montreal Alouettes, not the Red Blacks. You typed in Red Blacks, so that threw me off there. But yeah, I expect Montreal.
I did notice, sorry.
I expect Montreal to put up 30 plus and basically carry the over by themselves tonight. So I'm on the Montreal Alouettes team total over 27.5. I'm on the full game over 49 as well.
Perfect. And we will get to best bets. I understand if you've got to go, Nick. That's totally cool. If not, that's fine.
Here.
Dog of the day for me today, Seattle Mariners. Tim also going Seattle Mariners. Nick is going with the White Sox. DJ's golf bets, I have to check. I think he's catched one or two of them so far, but I'll have to get to that after. Bryant, dog of the day. What do you think? Any dogs?
Yeah, my dog of the day is going to be the Chicago Cubs. I'm not betting this, but if I was going to put one, it's going to be the Cubs. I think they can pull a win out tonight. I'm just not confident enough to bet it myself. So take that with caution if anyone is watching this.
Hey, at least you said that. So at least you gave like a little warning there. But if you had to choose one, you would go with the Cubs.
Yep.
Dave, any dogs that you like today?
My best dog was Colorado. They're playing right now, but you guys talked about the Mariners. So I'll take the Mariners. Full game.
All right. Over or under? For me, I'm doing it. Toronto team total over 5.5. My only total other than the strikeout props, which are technically totals, so strikeout props would be okay as well. I guess they're not really. I don't know. They're not really totals. I'd have to think about that. But yeah, Toronto team total over 5.5. Nick and Tim both going the same, taking Milwaukee, San Francisco over 6. Bryant, is there a total you like today?
Yeah, I'm going to put in my play that I said that was plus money. I'm going with the Giants team total under, or F5 team total. I'm sorry, under half a run. Let's go Corbin Burns. Just do the thing, man.
All right. Well, since I'm on San Francisco, I'm on the full game. So give me strikeouts and then San Francisco win at the end.
I hope anyone who decides to bet that, please let me know. Like, reach out to me. I think it, like I said, it's been tremendously profitable for me. So if people are able to cash and we're able to cash it, let me know so we can get others on board.
For sure. And if you want to find Brian's Twitter, it will be in the link in the description of this video with Dave, mine, and Nick's as well. Dave, is there a total that you like today?
Yep. Mariners team total over 4. Minus 112.
All right. Good stats with against the lefties there. Best of luck. Parlay piece. I wanted to take Toronto money line. But I'm not going to give a minus. When we've been through this with hockey season, minus 400 was kind of the cutoff because with some money lines. I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to give a minus. The best odds you can find for Jays money line is minus 375. So I won't do that. I'll go with the Atlanta Braves, who I also think win. So I like the Braves money line as my parlay piece. Nick is going to take the White Sox plus 2.5. Tim is going with the Mets money line. Bryant, what is your parlay piece?
My parlay piece is also going to be the Braves. I think the Braves get it done tonight. Let's not, let's not overthink this too much. And like you said, I can in good faith sit there and look at people who are watching this and recommend the Jays money line. I think it's stupid. So
yeah. Exactly. Even though I'm really confident they'll win, and we'll see my best bet in a couple seconds about that. But yeah, you can. It's betting the money line is you can't do that. That's like no value. Dave, parlay piece. I know you don't do parlays, but what is something you really think will cash tonight?
Reds team total over 3. It's at minus 130. It was at minus 120. I bet it straight up at 120.
All right, Cincinnati team total over 3 for parlay piece. And then, yeah, like Brian said about the Braves, and what somebody else said previously, Anibal Sanchez, not only has he not pitched for a couple of years, but he's 38 years old. So that's another reason why I do.
I forgot he was still on the league.
Yeah, me too.
I saw him on the deal, and I was all like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Yeah, not really a good spot, I think, for the Washington Nationals. Best bets. I've been looking at my bets the whole show, trying to figure out what I should do for best bet. I'm doing it. I'm going with the Jays minus 2.5, minus 120. I expect them to smash the Royals here and whoever is pitching. If they were able to hit a pretty hot Wheeler yesterday, like they did, they should be able to hit whoever the Royals have on the field and pitching. So,
oh man,
Nick, wow, Nick has decided to go and take Kansas City Royals first 5 money line. So I guess he's expecting Gausman to have a rough start here on his first game from injury, which is, I guess, if you're looking at the Kansas City Royals, hoping maybe the Gausman, but he's taken extra days to make sure he's 100%. So I expect him to pitch well. Tim is going Seattle money line, parlayed with the over in the Milwaukee-San Francisco game for plus 325. Bryant, what are you thinking for best bet? I'll quickly show the standings here. Currently, too. You're still in first here. And then me and Tim have moved up in the green. All of us here are in the green, so that's good. What do you think here for best bet?
Yeah, I am going with the Houston run line and the Braves run line. Those are my plays. I think that the pitching advantage is just too big, and the lineup advantage is also just too big. And I think both these teams have good bullpens. They'll lock it down, and these teams are just going to overwhelm both of these guys. So the value on that is plus 223.
All right, perfect. And Dave, best bet. What do you think here?
I'm not going fancy. Well, I'm kind of going fancy. Not fancy price though. Framber Valdez 7 or more, so 7+ Ks at plus 104. It's 7 or more. So it's
over 6.5. Okay.
7. No, it's actually 7. Yeah, it is. It's same thing. 7+ is what.
Yeah, FanDuel says it's weird like anywhere else, and anywhere else says it differently, but FanDuel kind of says it differently.
That's a plus 104.
All right, and that is the show. Best of luck to everybody in your bets. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, smash the like button. We appreciate all the support. If you're watching on Twitter, come join us on YouTube. We'd love to have you in the live chat. And if you want to find any of the cappers, their link will be in the description of the video. Best luck in your bets tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Get it well with Terry and friends. Have a good one, guys.